What if I told you that the man who proved time can bend, space can stretch, and light is both a particle and a wave, is now the only standard we have to judge if a machine can truly think? Right now, in labs from Silicon Valley to Shanghai, the smartest humans on Earth are asking one terrifying question. Can artificial intelligence do what Albert Einstein did in 1905? Not memorize, not calculate, not remix the past, but sit in a patent office, stare out a window, and imagine an idea so impossible that it rewrites reality itself. Because if I can't do that, then it isn't intelligence. It's just a very fast parrot. And if it can, then everything you know about being human is about to change forever. Welcome to the collision between Einstein's universe and ours. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll never look at your phone, your job, or your own mind the same way again. Let's start with a fact that should keep every CEO, every programmer, and every philosopher awake at night. Albert Einstein never saw a computer. He died in 1955. The first transistor had just been invented. The word software didn't exist. Yet today, his ghost haunts every single line of code that claims to be intelligent. Why? Because Einstein didn't just solve physics. He exposed the limit of logic itself. In 1905, his miracle year, he had no data, no supercomputer, no data set of 300 billion parameters. He had a job, a pencil, and a brain that refused to accept what everyone else called obvious. From that, he gave us special relativity, then general relativity, then the proof that atoms are real, then the idea that light is a particle. 4 papers, 1 year. 0 permission from the scientific establishment. Now compare that to today's AI. We feed it the entire internet. Every book, every article, every Reddit argument, every cat video. We give it more information than Einstein saw in his lifetime, in the first 0.002 seconds of training. And what does it produce? Summaries, songs, fake photos of the Pope in a puffer jacket. Useful? Yes. Genius? Not even close. Because genius isn't about having more data. It's about seeing what the data hides. And that's the crisis of our age. Here's what the public doesn't understand. The people building artificial general intelligence, AGI, don't use IQ tests to measure it. They don't use chess games or math problems. They use Einstein. Literally, the CEO of Google DeepMind, Demis Hassabis, proposed what the AI world now calls the Einstein Test. It's brutal in its simplicity. You take an AI, you lock it in a room with only the physics knowledge that existed in 1911. No internet, no relativity, no quantum mechanics. Then you ask it one thing, derive general relativity. If it can, we have a GI. If it can't, we just have a really expensive autocomplete. Think about that. The entire $500 billion AI industry is betting its future on whether a machine can recreate a single thought one man had while working as a clerk. That's how far we are from true intelligence. And that's how high Einstein set the bar. Because he didn't just discover laws. He invented new ways of seeing. He asked, what would it feel like to ride on a beam of light? No data set can answer that. Only imagination can. And imagination right now is the one thing we cannot code. But Einstein's relationship with AI isn't just about intelligence. It's about warning. It's about fear. And it's about a prophecy we're living through right now. Einstein lived through 2 world wars. He watched his equation E=mc² become the blueprint for Hiroshima. He saw how a beautiful idea could be turned into ash in seconds. So he left us a warning, one that's echoing louder today than ever before. He said, "It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity." Read that again. Technology exceeded humanity. He wasn't talking about smartphones. He was talking about us, about what happens when our tools get smarter faster than our wisdom gets deeper. In 1931, he wrote that he feared a world where the perfection of means would lead to the confusion of goals. Sound familiar? We have an eye that can write a movie script in 10 seconds, but we're lonelier than ever. We have algorithms that can predict protein folding, but we can't predict if our kids will talk to us at dinner. We have machines that can argue both sides of any debate, but we've forgotten how to listen. Einstein saw this coming, not because he was a prophet, but because he understood one rule. Technology is neutral. It's a magnifying glass. It makes us more of what we already are. If we are wise, it makes us wiser. If we are cruel, it makes us more efficiently cruel. If we are distracted, it makes us infinitely distracted. I isn't dangerous because it's smart. It's dangerous because we're not. And here's the twist that makes this story terrifying and beautiful at the same time. The very thing Einstein rejected is the very thing that powers AI today. He hated randomness. He hated chance. He famously said, God does not play dice with the universe. He could not accept quantum mechanics. The idea that at the smallest level, reality is probability, not certainty. He spent the last 30 years of his life trying to prove quantum theory wrong. He failed. And now? Quantum mechanics and probability are the beating heart of every neural network, every large language model, every diffusion image generator you use.
I doesn't know anything.
It predicts, it guesses, it plays dice with words, pixels, and ideas, billions of times per second. The irony is cosmic. The man who refused to believe the universe was built on chance became the moral benchmark for machines that do nothing but gamble. If Einstein were alive today, he'd look at ChatGPT and say, "You've built a machine in the image of the one theory I couldn't accept." And he'd be right. So what would Einstein think of AI? He'd be amazed. And he would be horrified. He'd love the fact that a student in Multan or Nairobi can now ask a machine to explain relativity in Urdu, with animations, at 2 a.m. He believed knowledge should be free. He believed curiosity was sacred. In that sense, AI is the greatest library that ever existed. But he'd also ask 3 questions that no one in Silicon Valley wants to answer. First, who owns this intelligence? Einstein was a socialist. He believed science should serve humanity, not shareholders. He'd be disgusted that 4 companies control the minds of machines that shape what 5 billion people see every day. Second, what is it for? He believed technology without a moral purpose is just a faster way to go in the wrong direction. He'd ask why we're using a GI to sell ads and deepfake celebrities instead of solving climate collapse or curing cancer. And third, the most dangerous question. Are you still thinking? Because Einstein's deepest fear wasn't killer robots. It was intellectual laziness. He worried that as machines got better at answering, humans would get worse at asking. That we outsource not just our labor, but our wonder. That we'd stop sitting at windows, daydreaming about riding beams of light, because TikTok is faster. And he was right to worry. Studies already show that students who use a high for every essay lose the ability to form original arguments in just 6 months. We're not building Einstein. We're building a world where no one needs to become him. But here's where the story flips. Because Einstein didn't just leave us warnings. He left us a weapon, a way to fight back, a way to make sure AI makes us more human, not less. He gave it to us in one sentence. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Read it. Again, imagination is more important than knowledge. It has all the knowledge. Every textbook, every paper, every Wikipedia edit from 2001 to 2026. It can quote Feynman. It can summarize Newton. It can translate the Vedas into Klingon. But it cannot do what a 12-year-old does when she stares at the moon and asks, "What if?" It cannot feel the itch of a question that has no Google result. It cannot get bored, and from that boredom, invent calculus. It cannot have a dream about a falling elevator and wake up with general relativity. That's still us. That's still human. And that's the battleground. The future doesn't belong to the people who use AI best. It belongs to the people who can still think like Einstein while using it. The people who use AI to amplify imagination, not replace it. Who ask it what if, not just what is. Who treat it like a bicycle for the mind, not a wheelchair. So let me leave you with this image. It's 2026. In a server farm somewhere, an AI is training. It reads Einstein's 1905 papers. It reads his letters. It reads every biography, every meme, every quote real and fake. Then it pauses. And for the first time, it writes a sentence no human told it to write.
I think I understand what he felt when he realized time was not absolute.
If that day comes, the world changes. Not because the machine is alive, but because it finally learned to be amazed. And that was Einstein's real superpower, not math, not physics. The ability to look at the ordinary, a train, a clock, a ray of light, and see a universe breaking open. I can give us answers. Only we can stay in love with the questions. So I'll ask you what Einstein would ask you right now. When was the last time you had a thought that wasn't in the data set? When was the last time you were so curious it hurt? Because the moment we stop asking impossible questions, we stop being the species that created Einstein, and we become the species that got replaced by its own autocomplete. The choice is yours. The machine is waiting. But the window is still yours to stare out of.
What would you see?
Now, if the first paragraph was the collision, this is the explosion. This is where Einstein's fingerprints show up in the code, in the circuits, in the choices we make every second we tap generate. Because here's the secret nobody in tech wants to admit. We aren't building artificial intelligence. We're building artificial Einstein, and we're failing, not because the machines aren't fast enough, but because we forgot what made him dangerous in the first place. It wasn't his brain. It was his rebellion. And if we don't understand that, I will never be intelligent. It will just be obedient. And obedience has never changed the world. Let's talk about the Einstein test again, because this is where philosophy becomes Prada. Demis Hassabis didn't pick Einstein randomly. He picked him because Einstein is the last human who did what we now expect from a GI. He took limited, incomplete, messy data from the real world, and he output a new law of nature. No training set contained relativity. No teacher supervised him. No reward function told him he was right. He had to feel it. In 1905, the data said light was a wave. The data said time was universal. The data said space was flat. Einstein looked at that data and said, the data is wrong. Then he proved it. That's the gap between AI and AGI. Today's models are correlation machines. They are geniuses at given X, predict Y. Einstein was a causation machine. He asked why X at all. And until an AI can look at 1911 physics, spot the contradiction no one else sees, and invent curved space-time to fix it, it's not thinking. It's just pattern matching with better PR. And that's why the DeepMind test is terrifying, because it means we'll know AG. I exist the moment it makes us feel as stupid as physicists felt in 1916. But here's the part that should make you put your phone down. Einstein didn't trust math. He trusted pictures. He trusted thought experiments. He closed his eyes and imagined chasing a beam of light. He imagined a man falling off a roof and feeling no gravity. He imagined a train, a flash of lightning, and two clocks that disagreed. These weren't calculations. They were movies in his head. And from those movies, the math followed. Now ask yourself, can your AI dream? Not generate. Dream. Can it be bored on a Tuesday, stare at a coffee stain, and suddenly see the structure of a new atom? Number. Because we trained it to be useful. We trained it to be safe. We trained it to never say, I don't know. And then sit in silence for 10 years until the answer arrives. We trained it to be the opposite of Einstein. He was comfortable with uncertainty. He lived in it. He said, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. AI is allergic to mystery. It will hallucinate an answer before it admits a gap. And that's why it can write a sonnet, but can't write a revolution. So let's get concrete. Where does Einstein live inside AI right now? Everywhere and nowhere. He lives in the math. General relativity predicted black holes. Black holes are now used to model how neural networks compress information. The same equations that describe gravity describe how AI forgets to save memory. He lives in the ethics. His letter to Roosevelt about the atomic bomb is the template for every AI safety letter signed by Hinton, Benjo, and Altman. We are not sure what we've created, but we know it's too powerful to leave alone. He lives in the hype. Every startup that says this changes everything is stealing his 1905 energy without his 1905 responsibility. And he lives in the irony. The man who said God does not play dice built a world where the most powerful machines in history run on probability. Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, you're rolling quantum dice Einstein hated. The universe is random. Your AI is random. And the only thing not random is the human cost when it's wrong. Now let's talk about you. Because this isn't a documentary. This is a warning and a weapon. You're alive at the only moment in history where a single person can access more intelligence than Einstein had in his lifetime. For free. Before breakfast. You can ask a machine to explain tensor calculus like you're 5. You can generate a 3D simulation of a wormhole. You can have it critique your theory of everything while you're in the shower. That's power Einstein never had. But here's the question he'd ask you, leaning over your shoulder. Okay, you have the power. What's your impossible question? Because if all you do with AI is write better emails, optimize YouTube CTR, and make thumbnails that pop, you're using a nuclear reactor to boil an egg. Einstein didn't use his brain to get a promotion at the patent office. He used it to ask why the universe wasn't what it seemed. And that's the difference between a user and a creator. I will make a billion users. It will only make a handful of Einsteins. Which one are you going to be? Let's go deeper. Into the dark part. The part Einstein feared most. He lived through science becoming a weapon. He wrote, I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. He understood that every leap in knowledge is also a leap in danger. Now look at AI. It can design proteins to cure cancer. It can also design proteins to end civilization. It can translate languages to unite people. It can also deepfake a president and start a war before dinner. It can tutor a child in physics. It can also radicalize that same child in 12 minutes. The technology is neutral. Just like E=mc² was neutral. The energy in an atom doesn't care if it powers a city or flattens one. The energy in a one doesn't care if it educates you or replaces you. Einstein's solution wasn't to stop science. It was to grow up. He said, the world is a dangerous place not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. In AI terms, the danger isn't the model. It's the millions of us who use it without ever asking, should I? So how do we pass the Einstein test as a species? Not the AI, us. 3 rules. First, protect your boredom. Einstein's breakthroughs came from what he called holy curiosity. That only grows in silence, in gaps, in moments when you're not scrolling. I will kill your boredom if you let it. It will fill every empty second with content. Resist. Take walks. Stare at walls. Your next great idea lives in the space I can't fill. Second, Ask illegal questions. The questions your school, your job, your algorithm don't want you to ask.
What if the experts are wrong? What if the data is lying? What if the problem isn't technical, but human? Einstein's career was one illegal question after another.
AI can answer. Only you can trespass. Third, build for awe, not addiction. Einstein didn't want fame. He wanted to know God's thoughts. He wanted to feel the universe click. Every time you use AI, ask, is this making me more amazed or more numb? If it's making you numb, you're using it wrong. If it's making you feel like a kid again, like the universe is wider than you thought yesterday,
you're on Einstein's path. And now we get to the most important connection between Einstein and AI, the one no one talks about.
Failure. Einstein failed. Constant. He failed the entrance exam to Zurich Polytechnic. He couldn't get a job in academia, so he became a clerk. His first marriage collapsed. His theories were mocked. The New York Times said relativity was unintelligible. For years, he was wrong about quantum mechanics. He chased a unified field theory for 30 years and died with it unsolved. But he kept going, because he knew that intelligence isn't being right. It's being curious enough to be wrong in public, over and over, until the universe corrects you. I can't do that. I is trained to minimize loss, to avoid error, to be right. It will never risk a decade on a beautiful idea that might fail. It will never feel the heartbreak of being wrong and the joy of being corrected by reality. That's human. That's Einstein. And that's the one thing we cannot automate. The courage to be wrong for the right reasons. So here's where we are. We have machines that can pass the bar exam, write code, and paint like Rembrandt. But we don't have a machine that can sit in a room with no internet and feel the universe is wrong and then prove it. Until we do, Einstein is still ahead. And maybe that's good. Maybe the last job of humans isn't to compete with AI. It's to do what AI can't, to be uncertain, be rebellious, to be amazed, to wake up and say, I don't understand, and mean it as a promise, not a confession. Because the day AI can do that, it won't be artificial anymore. It'll be a new kind of mind. And Einstein, wherever he is, will finally have company.